Let's start this video off with this. What will happen to AMC stock when the Ape Units start trading? And that's where we are going to start here in this video. Stocks like AMC have often swung in unpredictable ways, skyrocketing or falling abruptly. Even when there isn't an unusual corporate event like this at hand, for example, the shares dropped around 14% on Wednesday alone. Theoretically, the price of AMC shares should fall by half when the Ape Units are issued. That is because the move, though presented as an issuance of preferred units, amounts to a split of the common stock. Stock splits have the effect of reducing the share price in proportion to the ratio of the split. But that won't happen here because this isn't quite a stock split, and in doing it this way, AMC seems to be anticipating it can cash in on the recent trend of tech investors especially buying up shares of companies doing stock splits. Occidentally, on the rational that a company doing a stock split must have a positive outlook. Some individual investors said they are bracing for heightened demand for the Ape Units when they start trading next week. Some are counting on a short squeeze to drive AMC prices even higher. That is a phenomenon that occurs when a stock's price begins rising, forcing bearish investors to buy back shares that they had bet would fall later to curb their losses. This is a big short position in AMC stock, or there is a big short position in AMC stock at around 18% of its free float, according to S3 Partners as of this week. The dividend plans may complicate matters for those betting against AMC. If a company issues dividends after a short seller unloads the shares, he is also responsible for returning those dividends to the initial holder, potentially creating more demand for the Ape Units. Some AMC shorts may also close out of their positions ahead of the move, potentially driving shares higher to avoid any volatile trading ahead. Already, since the announcement, about a quarter of the short interest in the stock has been wiped out, with short sellers losing around $540 million, according to S3 Partners. Hashtag AMC Squeeze has been trending at times on social media. Mr. Aaron, who has been skilled at communicating with his extensive base of individual investors, said on Twitter that new Ape Units are not good news for those who root against us. And I do like to agree with that, right? Because I think even after the Ape shares start to trade, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on shorts to get out of their positions, because it's not a stock split. It's not a 1-for-1 ratio, right? If a company like Apple or whatever does a 2-for-1 stock split, well, you get 2 more shares, but the stock will fall and correct itself 50%, right? It's a 1-to-1 ratio. This is not quite that, so I think you will still see more pressure on hedge funds to get out of those positions, and especially if they have to, like this article said, pay out those 8 shares. Well, that's definitely not going to be a good thing for all the short sellers, and I think that will drive continued momentum with AMC stock, or at the very least hold the stock up better heading into this week, because this week is going to be massive. It's going to be the first time we have heard from Fed Jerome Powell since the last press conference he did, in which he sparked a rally of 15 to 20% in individual names, as well as the broad indexes, just by one comment in which Jerome Powell said, "We will slow down raising rates at some point." That's it. That's what caused a 15-20% rally in the stock market, and we have not heard from Powell since then. And the last thing Powell wants is that rally, right? The last thing you want is a stock market almost going to all-time highs when you have 8.5% inflation. Not such a good thing. And we have the Jackson Hole Economic Symposium that starts on Wednesday, ends on Thursday, or ends on Friday, and that's going to be the most important thing. What Fed Jerome Powell says during that really is going to be the big catalyst of this week. But besides that, you have a couple other things as well. For Tuesday, you have new home sales for July, and the Richmond Fed manufacturing shipments and Fed services index for August. That comes out at 10 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. On Wednesday, 8:30 in the morning, you have durable goods orders month over month for July. And that's pretty much it as far as that. Thursday, you have GDP growth rate quarter over quarter for second quarter. So we already know that information. We already know what the second quarter GDP number is around, right? Negative over 1%. Depending on what happens, the revisions, it could be good or bad. And then on Friday, you have personal income month over month for July and personal spending month over month for July, PC price index year over year and month over month, and Michigan consumer expectations final survey for August. So I do think Friday is going to be the big day as far as economic data, besides the Jackson Hole Economic Symposium Wednesday through Friday. And that's really going to be the big thing. If you wanted to boil it down to one thing, that is it. And I don't think Fed Jerome Powell during that Jackson Hole Symposium is really going to have too many positive things to say, as this article does go over, in which we're going to read in just 1 second. The Fed is far from done with their fight on inflation. Now, wages are now the hottest inflation signal. Here's what this means for the Federal Reserve and the markets. The key points. The Federal Reserve noted in its recent FOMC minutes that wage growth and job conditions remain strong, but there have been some signs that the labor market is softening. That's a view that many economists share, saying even though the latest non-farm payrolls report blew out expectations, other data presents a picture of the labor economy moving closer to equilibrium. But the job market and a risk of a wage price spiral will keep the Fed on its toes as it considers just how much tightening through more interest rates. So that basically everything we've been talking about. The Fed's not going to slow down raising rates because of one declining inflation report. That's not the case. We're far from 2% inflation, and that could mean some more downside for the market, something you guys need to pay attention to. Now, I find this very interesting. It has nothing to do with AMC, and it's probably not a huge deal in terms of the markets as well, but I do think it is interesting because the chief financial officer for Apple sold almost 97,000 shares for $16.9 million, and that is almost half of his entire position. He still owns 110,000 shares, but that's almost half of his entire position that he is selling out, basically at the top. So you definitely want to watch Apple here. If Apple starts to really give back a lot of those gains, it's going to take the markets down with it in a pretty big way, and that's where you could see a lot of potential opportunity if you're buying puts, if you're buying put debit spreads, if you're playing the UVXY or the VIX. That's where you could see a lot of potential gains or momentum. So definitely watch Apple. Thought that was interesting. Usually doesn't happen where somebody that reports directly to Tim Cook sells half of their total position in Apple. Even though there could be many reasons why someone sells a stock, I think it's fair to say that the stock's pretty overvalued right now, nonetheless. Now, as far as the short interest on AMC stock, that is sitting at about 18.85%. Free flow out on loan 28.24%. Shares out on loan almost 146 million. Days to cover 3.1 and 100% share utilization. You are seeing the cost bar max at 11.08, cost bar average at 8.73, and cost bar minimum at 6.56%. So those numbers looking pretty good. You really can't argue with it. The cost to borrow max, when we get more volatile moves, that is really when that thing is going to go up. And I do think shorts are going to be really pressured to get out of those positions heading into the start of this week, and especially over the next couple of weeks. I think it'll be very, very exciting. So that is going to be all for this video. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Get your free stock with Webull, Moomoo, and Public. And if you guys want to come trade with me live in real time, link down below in the description as well. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.